Hey, junior high parents, it's Kristen Lascola with your weekend recap. We are still in our choices series. We're talking about how choices affect all of our relationships and the way that we interact with people and the things that we do and don't do, and how choices are kind of the culmination of our life, or our life is culmination of our choices rather. So yesterday we talked about the subject of anger, and we talked about how there's two different types of anger. One type of anger is a sin, and one type of anger isn't a sin. And so I told a couple stories of anger and asked the kids to differentiate between which one is a sin and which one isn't, or what type is justified and which type isn't. Because obviously God gets angry, so we know that anger is not always a sin because obviously God is perfect. But in what context is anger okay and when is it not? And so I gave them some red flags to look out for when they know that their anger has become a sin. And the first one was you start to attack the person, not the problem. And this one is pretty obvious, name calling, making judgments of people's motivation. Oh, they're selfish. They're a jerk. Oh, she would do that, or she always does that. And we start to attack who they are rather than what they've done. And the other ones we looked at were holding a grudge, not dealing with the issue, not talking about it, bottling it up. And when our anger is motivated simply by pride, not in defense of a person, not in defense of a principle or something moral, but rather just our own ego is hurt, our own pride, and that's the only reason we're angry. James talks about that and saying that that type of anger is unjustified. And so tomorrow night at Chaos, what we're going to do is we're going to go through some steps of how do I deal with my anger in the right way? How do I talk about it? How do I deal with it in a way that honors God? Because again, anger in itself is not a sin, but the way that I choose, we have a choice, the way that I choose to deal with it either honors God or doesn't honor God. And so, yeah, I encourage you to talk to your student about things that maybe make them angry, or next time they're having a tantrum or venting about something, of just directing them on how to deal with their anger in the right way. So thank you for watching and taking the time, and we'll see you next week.